Hey awesome friends, I am Awesome Danny, and today I want to tell you about the Hidizs MP145. This was provided by Hidizs for review, but again, they don't tell us what to say or else we don't do the review, right? But they did mention something that they wanted me to share with you guys. This is actually a collaborative effort with the WDC, which is the Whale and Dolphin Conservation, which I thought was really cool. Like an IEM with a purpose, and it was just out of nowhere. They have no motivation to try to do something like this unless they actually believe in the cause, right? Because I'm not seeing any other audio companies trying to change the world in any way, which I thought was really cool. I'll link the WDC website in the description, and you can go and check them out. Something you're interested in, you can help them directly, you know, saving the whales and dolphins of the world. Or if you end up purchasing this set, it will also go to help, so you'll be indirectly helping. So again, thank you Hidizs for sending this out for review, and thank you for, you know, trying to make a difference. Very awesome of you. All right, so the Hidizs MP145 is a planar magnetic driver in-ear monitor with a whale inspired design for the shell, which goes into the whole WDC collab in order to save the whales, which I'm a big fan of. You know, got to look out for my people. So it's going to be initially released on Kickstarter. The super early bird price is going to be $109, which at that price, just straight up telling you right now, is a steal. There's not much that I can even recommend over this at its MSRP, which full price is going to be $199. Super early bird is $109, and then there's another early bird, just regular early bird, for $119. So at $199, there's a lot of sets I really like, but I would consider them all at the very most side grades, really, depending what you're looking for out of your set. So at $109, there is nothing that comes even close to this. I believe it's a batch of like 100 units for the super early bird, and then 100 units for the regular early bird. So the Hidizs MP comes with two different options on the cable termination, 3.5 and 4.4. I have the 4.4, which is great because I prefer 4.4 since I do most of my listening on my desk. The cable itself is great. I love it. Like if I can buy a couple more of this cable, I totally would, because I really like this cable. It has a very good solid feel, decent heft, but not too heavy where it's uncomfortable to use. But again, I use it at my desk. I can see it maybe being a little bit more cumbersome in mobile use if you're out and about, but again, very little memory on the cable. It is very easy to manage and use. It feels very well made. The connectors are solid and it looks very pretty. Like I said, I really like this cable. You also get 3 different types of silicone ear tips with 3 pairs in each. So that's 9 pairs total, a small, medium, and large of each of the 3 different types of ear tips. So the shell on these is very big. I would consider them on the bigger side for pretty much anybody, even somebody like me that has pretty big ears. They fit me comfortably and I have 0 issues whatsoever. The shells aren't too heavy, they're not too big, they're not too sharp for me to be able to use pretty much all day. It did take a little bit of tip rolling to find the best fit because again, the shells are kind of big, and then the nozzle isn't exactly too deep of a fit. It almost reminds me of the Ico OH10. Yeah, right? OH10 Ohio. The way it fits, it has a pretty big shell that kind of just fills up my ear, but the nozzle isn't very deep fitting. So sometimes I need a tip roll on those kind of sets to just get a more secure fit, since I actually enjoy the deeper fit. So usually do know S&S tips, which are one of my favorite sets of tips. I couldn't really use them on this though, because the nozzle is very big. It's, I believe, 7 millimeters, which is, I think, the biggest nozzle I've ever tried. Also, it has removable nozzles. There's different tunings. There's 3 different tuning nozzles. 2 of them are pretty similar, where they just tilt the sub bass a little bit and then tilt the treble a little bit. So those 2 are very, very close. I preferred the balanced one because it was just a little bit more bass focused, and that made it easier to deal with the high treble, since the set I would consider kind of bright, maybe a little intense, and we'll get into that in the sound breakdown. The third option of the tuning nozzles just kind of cut the upper mids, and not even the treble, just the upper mids. So it took that energy out of female vocals for me. I did not enjoy that, but it also let you kind of just enjoy the mids a little bit more, like the lower mids, and focus more on the bass. And also kind of helped it in gaming, which I'll mention that later as well. It made it sound just like a little bit wider, a little bit more open, because it cut that energy there, but then you still had the rest of the treble, make it sound airy. And then lastly, in the box, you get a little pouch. It's kind of like a little leather pouch, similar to the one that you get with the Truthier Hola, but it's just bigger. It's a little extended. I really like it. I use it. That's where I store the IEMs in. That's what I use to carry them around with me. All right, so for this set, we're gonna switch it around a little bit. Usually I get into the sound breakdown at this point, but I'm gonna mention the techs first. So this being a planar magnetic IEM, there is a lot of tech advantages that you usually get with these kind of sets. I have tried the Tin Hi-Fi P1 Max, the 7 Hertz Timeless, which I just recently got rid of. I still have the P1 Max. I also have the Heyday, which is the set that I'm going to compare this the most to, because kind of been using these 2 the most recently. I was very excited for the Heyday, and I actually really like the set. I think it's a great set, but after I got the Hidizs, it kind of changed things around, and again, I'll get into that during the comparisons. But basically, you're getting everything you expect with a planar magnetic driver. So you get super quick decay, which makes everything sound very crisp, very decisive. Imaging is very strong, and separation is amazing. This set does layering very well as well. So you get, like, one of my favorite things to listen for is the instrument layering, when you have like a lot of strings going on, and then there's that mid bass right under it, occupying the same place, but cleanly separated. And then under that, you get the sub bass rumble. Same thing, occupying the same space, but clearly distinguishable. So to me, that's really nice. I enjoy that because you can hear all aspects of the music while it's, not sounding too congested, but it is cohesive and more natural. So again, another thing that planars do very well is the detail retrieval. You get a lot of details in this, and with the imaging and separation being as strong as it is, it just helps amplify the detail retrieval. You get a lot of the little details, and then you get really good resolution on them. So macro and micro detailing is very strong, just like any other planar. The thing is, this set does a couple of things that other planar sets weren't doing for me. One being that it has a good amount of note weight. For those who don't know what note weight is, it's just the heft, the substance, the body of the sound that you're getting. A lot of planar sets are very good at all those details and all those texts, but they kind of lack the soul, that body of the music. So one example I used was a lot of planar sounded like they're just outlines of the music. So if you're looking at a drawing, it's just the outlines. Like, just picture a drawing in your head right now. All you weebs out there, picture your favorite waifu right now in your head. Close your eyes, picture your favorite waifu. Just take away all the color and all the shading and just leave the outlines. That's usually what I got with planar IEMs. Well, the Hidizs fills that in a little bit better, so you get some of that color, you get some of that shading. It's more musical and it has that note weight. It has better timbre than a lot of the other planar sets that I've tried as well. And again, I'm only discussing this in comparison to other planars because it's still going to have its shortcomings since it is a planar driver. This is just a really good and big step in the right direction for planars. If this is the future of planars, I'm all for it. I'm excited to see what's next. All right, so now for the sound breakdown. Again, comparing to the other planar magnetic driver sets I've had, starting with the bass. Bass has more substance with the MP145. The MP has a good amount of that rumble for the sub bass. It is very clean and quick, so sometimes it feels like it doesn't linger enough for me. It's just kind of cut. And I usually prefer that kind of clean analytical sound where it's just less soul and less life. People, give me a hard time about me liking the thin and lifeless sound, which I do like that. I do know most people don't, but I can appreciate it when it's done properly, like on the MP145. Compared to other planars, a nicer note weight, a little bit more warmth. Tonality is better there. You get a nice solid mid bass impact. I felt like it was good enough for me. Some people might still consider this underwhelming though. Again, compared to other planars, this is a big step in the right direction. It is a little warmer, it is a little bassier, feels more bodied, but might still be a little less than what most people might like. So now for the mids. So this is, I guess I would consider it more of a V-shaped type tuning. There is a good amount of focus on the bass, then there is a lot of treble. Mids are dipped just slightly, so they end up sometimes feeling a little bit in the back, but because we're getting that superior separation and detail retrieval there, you can still hear and appreciate it. You're getting everything, just might be a little bit lower or less emphasized than the other stuff. One thing though is that there's a lot of clarity here. The mids, you're getting everything. Even in some busier tracks, I felt like I could easily keep up with a lot of it. All right, so now for the treble on the MP. It is sometimes borderline too much for me, but not while I'm actively listening to them. When I'm using them, it's fine. It's just after hours of use, which I that's usually how I listen. I'll sit down and listen to a set for 2, maybe 3 hours. I do notice some symptoms of fatigue, and I noticed it was depending on the music I was listening to. So a lot of stuff with cymbal strikes or just a lot of sharp sounds, it can be a little sibilant, so it did give me a little bit of fatigue. But again, that was after the fact. While I'm actively listening to them, using them in the moment, they're fine. It's a little sharper than I would like, but it's not too much where I can't use them. There is some female vocals that get kind of like a wispiness or sharpness at the trailing end of their vocals, and it makes it sound a little unnatural. Slight metallic timbre, which it's weird because overall the timbre on these is really good. I feel like it's not due to the planar driver, It's more of like just the tuning, high treble. The cool thing though about this treble is it's the smoothest out of all the planars I've tried. The treble is really nice. It's smooth. There's no peakiness. There's no intense, you know, when you get those little peaks, and it's just like, I don't know, where you just get that sharp, intense, unnatural spike. Also, there is a lot of air in this set. You're gonna get that more expansive or open feeling with them. There's a good amount of air in these. Actually, probably one of the more airy sets I've tried, and it can really come across in some of the music. But also keep in mind, you have the tuning nozzles. You can easily just modify it yourself. You know, you can go on AliExpress and just order some tuning foam. I haven't done that myself yet. I've been too busy to, but I've been meaning to. I actually have a good friend in our Discord server who does a lot of DIY stuff. He does a lot of really cool stuff, and he's very experienced in that. I'm gonna be bugging you, Mr. Goblin, for some tips on this soon, because again, this set is really good, really close to just being one of my top 5 sets probably. It's just some of that intensity there. So all right, so now for some comparisons. We're gonna compare to that guy right over there, Mr. Heyday. So the Heyday I got shortly before I got the Hidizs. I loved them right away. I actually used them that entire day after I got them. I really like chasing technicalities, so I was very curious to find a planar magnetic set that I enjoyed, because I like the details. I like listening for engaging aspects of music. I don't really chase timbre or tonality too much. If a set can, you know, do some cool stuff, I'm all for it. I can appreciate that, because I have so many sets that I don't like to stick to just one. So I'm not trying to find one perfect set, unlike most of you guys, you know, you reasonable, sane people that aren't going after, you know, a new set every week or so. You want one that's going to do the job well enough for you to use every day, and just stick to that one set, maybe 2 sets. So Heyday was a very popular planar set. I think it does a very good job. It has very good text, details. It was great. The tuning, solid. One thing that it lacks for me, and again, I get teased a lot about my sound preference, but even I thought the Heyday was a little light, lacked some body, some substance to the sound, and the MP145 does that. You're getting the planar text again with that added body. So versus Heyday, I think the shells are just as nice. Both of them look as good. Both of their cables look as good. Accessories, unboxing, and everything was very similar. Maybe a little bit better on the Heyday, since it just has a very nice character to it. There's a sort of swag that the Heyday has, and I really enjoyed that. I love the cable, I love the look, I love the unboxing, the case for it. It's really cool. It's a very cool set without even considering sound at all. These are basically side grades to each other. I just prefer the MP145 more at this point. Just that little extra body really fills up sound very nicely, and you still get all the text. But if you're looking for a solid planar set that you can add to your collection, or can be a well-rounded option as your main set, the MP145 does a great job. I really like it. I would highly recommend it. If you can demo it, that's something that I would recommend you do. As always, I don't believe in blind buying, because sound is so subjective, and you guys come on here to listen to us ramble about our opinions on a subjective hobby. It's always best to listen to it for yourself if possible. So quick rundown of the gaming performance, because like most people, I game a lot, maybe a little too much. I tested these in a few video games. I mostly play first person shooters, so a lot of PvP, competitive type stuff. Whatever I'm reviewing, I like to take for a spin in any video games I'm playing at that time. And then if it makes a good enough impression, I like to include it in my reviews. If I don't mention it at all, then it's just didn't do a great job. But these guys actually did very good. So you get the advanced, text really carrying the performance in shooters. You're going to get that very precise imaging, the precise details, and that really helps on being able to track targets and anticipate your encounters better and hear things that you might have missed with other sets or just other types of tuning. Since again, this set's very clean, more on the analytical side. There's a little bit extra substance in the bass, so that helps fill up the audio cues, gives them more body, so you can feel them a little bit better instead of just hearing. Because once you get into intense situations, there's a lot of grenades going off and people trying to shove their shotgun up your ass or something, and it gets chaotic. You can feel the audio cues instead of just like hearing them a little bit better, if that makes sense. So good set for gaming as well. My main concern would be just the fit, because like I said, I was able to fit them fine and I was able to use them for hours at a time. Some people might not be able to, just either due to the shell size or the nozzle size. But overall, it gets a decent rating for gaming as well. All right, so quick recap. MP145 from Hidizs, $109 on Kickstarter as an early bird, $119 for the regular Kickstarter price, I believe. I think it's like super early bird and then regular early bird or something, I don't know. And then once it hits full production, $199 at MSRP. So just talking about it at $199, it is a solid set. You get a good amount of value in performance and accessories for that $199. I would consider probably top 3 of my $200 range sets. The other 2 would be the Yume 2 by C Audio. I love that set, great set. And the Performer 5 by Awful, love that set too. Those 3 sets at $200 each is just, it's a little difficult to pick one over the other. I enjoy all of them. It just really depends on my mood which one I go for. But again, that is thinking at full MSRP. You can get this set for $109 off of Kickstarter, which Hidizs has done a few things on Kickstarter. I personally don't like Kickstarter dealing with stuff on there just because it doesn't feel as set in stone, I guess. But they've done stuff there before. It looks like there's been no issues before, so might be an option. Save like $90, get the best $109 set you can get. It's got to be one of my favorite sets out of 2023 so far, at least out of the ones I reviewed or tried. I have a lot of stuff on my desk right now. All right, so that's it for the Hidizs MP145. $109 on Kickstarter. If you're curious about it, go check it out. If you end up getting it, let me know what you think of it. I want to hear what you guys think. It's always fun to discuss stuff, and if it's something that can, connect us, that we've both tried, it just makes it fun. But anyways, I am Awesome Danny, and until next time, you stay awesome, friends. Bye.